I've watched, like, half of my knowledge comes from Simpsons.
Anyway, today we are going to be looking at Simpsons predictions that came true.
For decades, The Simpsons has stunned fans with predictions that eerily come true, from political scandals to tech breakthroughs.
In tonight's Fact or Fiction, we are looking into yet another claim about The Simpsons predicting a big news event. The story this time is that the iconic TV show eerily predicted the outbreak of the coronavirus.
This cartoon doesn't just entertain, it seems to glimpse the future. As we approach 2026, the show's forecasts grow bolder, touching AI dominance, global crises, and scientific leaps. Are they coincidence, satire, or something deeper? Buckle up as we dive into The Simpsons' mind-blowing 2026 predictions. Rise of Flying Cars. In the 2005 episode Future Drama from Season 16,
Stupid local news, always making everything sound like the end of the world.
Bart and Lisa use a time machine to glimpse their lives in 2013, where traffic jams are a thing of the past thanks to personal flying cars zipping through the skies over Springfield. The scene shows compact vehicles with rotors lifting off effortlessly, turning commutes into aerial adventures. At the time, it was classic Simpsons sci-fi satire, poking fun at futuristic dreams that always seemed just out of reach. Viewers chuckled at the absurdity of everyday folks piloting airborne autos, but fast forward nearly 2 decades, and the joke is starting to land in reality. Companies like Joby Aviation and Archer are testing electric vertical takeoff and landing eVTOL aircraft, with prototypes already ferrying passengers in trials over cities like Dubai and New York. In 2024, the FAA certified the first commercial eVTOL flights, and urban air mobility is no longer a pipe dream. Why does this feel so spot on? And what happens when the skies get crowded? Hold that thought. The next prediction might make you rethink your daily drive. The episode's vision captures the frustration of gridlock and the allure of escape, mirroring our growing desperation for smarter transport. It wasn't a blueprint, but the details like short-hop urban flights and regulatory hurdles echo today's developments. By 2026, experts predict flying taxis could launch commercially in major hubs, with Uber Elevate forecasting millions of annual rides. This isn't just about speed. It's about reshaping cities, reducing emissions, and challenging old infrastructure. Yet, as The Simpsons hinted, chaos looms. Air traffic control overloads, noise complaints, and equity issues for those who can't afford the skies. Future Drama wasn't mere whimsy. It spotlighted humanity's tech optimism laced with inevitable mishaps. If their forecast holds, 2026 could mark the dawn of aerial commuting, turning highways into history books. The show's 2005 gag now feels like a roadmap, warning us that while flying cars solve one problem, they'll spawn a dozen more in our rush to the clouds. Another global pandemic. Season 4's Marge in Chains, aired in 1993, unfolds a Springfield panic when a flu strain from Osaka, Japan, sweeps the town after tainted juicers arrive via international shipping.
The dreaded Osaka flu has hit Springfield with over 300 cases now reported.
And now for an emergency announcement from the mayor.
People of Springfield, because of the epidemic, I have canceled my vacation to the Bahamas.
Workers collapse in factories, mobs loot pharmacies, and the city descends into quarantine fever. It was a sharp parody of globalization's hidden risks, with the Osaka flu spreading via everyday imports. Fans laughed at the over-the-top hysteria, but the script hit unnervingly close to home. In 2020, COVID-19 exploded from Wuhan, China, hitching rides on global supply chains, think Amazon packages and factory lines grinding to a halt. Mask mandates, vaccine hunts, and urban shutdowns mirrored the episode beat for beat. Asia as ground zero? Check airborne via commerce? Double check. Brace for the twist, with climate shifts brewing new zoonoses. Could history loop back? Stay tuned. The economic fallout next will make your wallet weep. The parallel isn't prophecy, but a prescient nod to interconnected vulnerabilities we ignored. The episode highlighted how a distant spark ignites worldwide fires. much like COVID's trail from wet markets to boardrooms. By 2026, virologists warn of Disease X, a novel pathogen with pandemic potential fueled by deforestation and travel booms. The WHO flags Asia as a hotspot, with supply chains still fragile post-2020. Margin Chains wasn't just a farce. It exposed blind spots in trade and preparedness, from underfunded health nets to panic-driven policies. If the pattern repeats, 2026 might see another wave, not just viral but economic, straining resources and trust. The Simpsons' 1993 warning lingers as a cautionary tale. In our wired world, one sneeze echoes globally. As outbreaks like mpox and bird flu simmer, their gag urges vigilance over complacency. Disney buys Fox. Back in 1998, when you dish upon a star from season 10, a sign outside 20th Century Fox reads, "A division of Walt Disney Co." Tucked into a background gag as The Simpsons crash a Hollywood lot. It was a sly jab at corporate consolidation, with Mickey's empire eyeing rivals. At the time, Disney was a powerhouse, but absorbing Fox? Pure exaggeration for laughs. Yet, 2 decades later, in 2019, the $71.3 billion merger shocked the industry, handing Disney control of Fox's IPS, including The Simpsons themselves. Streaming wars ensued, with Hulu and Marvel folding into the Mousehouse fold. The irony? The show that mocked the buyout became its prize. Why does this merger matter now? Peek ahead, the surveillance spike will have you checking your smart fridge. The gag nailed the media landscape's merger mania, where giants swallow studios for content monopolies. It wasn't clairvoyance, but satire on 90s deal fever, prescient amid antitrust fears. By 2026, as streaming consolidates further, Netflix is eyeing Paramount, Warner Discovery teetering, and the episode foreshadows a near monopoly world. Disney's Fox grab amplified voices like yours, but at what cost? Fewer competitors mean pricier subs and curated feeds. When You Dish Upon a Star highlighted how art bends to commerce, with creators like groaning now under the very roof they lampooned. If trends hold, 2026 could see mega mergers reshaping entertainment, echoing the sign's subtle dread. The Simpsons turned corporate jest into reality, reminding us that satire often outpaces the suits. Rise of smartwatches. Lisa's wedding in 1995's Season 6 flashes to 2010, where Lisa's fiancé, A. Hugh, chats via his wristwatch during a botched proposal, barking commands into a sleek device. It was a futuristic flourish in a time travel tale, evoking Jetsons vibes amid wedding woes. Viewers saw it as cute tech porn, but the watch's voice-activated calls foreshadowed a gadget revolution. Enter 2013, Samsung Galaxy Gear and Apple Watch debut, turning wrists into hubs for texts, calls, and apps. By 2025, wearables will track hearts, steps, and sleep for billions. But wait, the Dome City's poison air is no laughing matter. What if our tech traps us? The scene tapped early PDA dreams, like Dick Tracy comics, but nailed the integration, seamless, hands-free life aids. It wasn't an invention, but an acceleration of trends toward always-on connectivity. By 2026, smartwatches will evolve into health guardians, with AI spotting ailments pre-symptom. Apple's FDA nods hint at it. Yet, as Lisa's wedding implied, dependency breeds glitches, battery drains, data breaches, distraction epidemics. The episode warned of double-edged, empowering yet intrusive in a pre-iPhone era. If accurate, 2026 brings ubiquitous wearables, blurring human-machine lines. The Simpsons' 1995 wrist talk wasn't whimsy. It charted our gadget obsession, urging balance amid the buzz. The Shard skyscraper in London. A 1995 establishing shot in Lisa's wedding shows Big Ben dwarfed by a jagged glass spire piercing the Thames skyline, a mysterious tower amid future London. It was visual flair for the episode's time jump, blending old icons with bold builds. Fans paused frames for Easter eggs, but the spire's pyramid peak stood out. Then, 2012. The Shard opens, London's tallest at 1,016 feet, its crystalline taper matching the cartoon's outline, exactly positioned right by Parliament. Renzo Piano's design turned skyline satire into steel reality. Eerie, right? The final pair ahead ties bots to bucks. Will robots rule your office? The background bit mirrored 90s urban boom fears, with unchecked towers symbolizing growth's gloss. It wasn't blueprint theft, but intuitive guesswork on megastructures reshaping heritage. By 2026, as cities verticalize against sprawl, think Jeddah's Jeddah Tower, the Shard gag warns of aesthetic clashes and inequality. Views for elites, shadows for streets. Lisa's wedding captured architecture's arrogance, where progress pinches the past. If prescient, 2026 sees more shards worldwide, fueling debates on density and design. The Simpsons' overlooked skyline sketch proved animation anticipates ascent, blending humor with horizon shifts. Virtual reality takeover. In the 2016 episode Friends and Family from Season 28, Mr. Burns funds a virtual reality, VR project that immerses Springfield in hyper-realistic digital worlds, with citizens donning headsets to escape mundane lives. The gag shows VR so addictive that people stumble blindly in reality, lost in their simulations. At the time, VR was a niche. Oculus Rift had just launched, and the idea of mass adoption seemed like sci-fi fluff. But by 2025, Meta's Quest 3 and Apple Vision Pro will have made immersive headsets mainstream, with millions using VR for work, gaming, and social hangouts. The episode's satire of tech escapism feels prophetic as remote offices and virtual concerts spike. Why are we trading reality for pixels? The next prediction will make your head spin. The Simpsons scene wasn't just a tech joke, it captured society's craving for distraction amid stress. By 2026, analysts predict VR will dominate daily life, with Gartner forecasting 100 million users globally. Virtual workspaces could replace Zoom, while VR therapy tackles mental health crises. But the episode's chaos collisions, addiction hints at downsides, privacy leaks, cyber escapist disorders, even physical injuries from VR blindness. Friends and Family foresaw tech's double edge, where immersion blurs reality's lines. If this holds, 2026 could see VR reshape education, work, and relationships, with regulators scrambling to curb overuse. The show's 2016 gag now reads as a warning: our digital dive might disconnect us from the real world. Get ready, for the next two predictions plunge into space dreams and digital cash nightmares. Could Springfield's wildest gags be our 2026 reality? Universal Basic Income Trials. In the computer war menace shoes, 2000 Season 12, Homer stumbles into a scheme where Springfield residents receive free money from a mysterious fund, satirizing dot-com bubble fantasies of endless wealth. The cash flows with no strings attached, sparking chaos as people quit jobs, splurge recklessly, and fuel scams. It's a classic Simpsons jab at get-rich-quick dreams, with the town's economy collapsing under greed and mismanagement. At the time, Universal Basic Income, UBI, was a fringe academic idea, barely discussed outside economics circles. Fast forward to 2025, and UBI trials are a reality in cities like Stockton, California, and nations like Finland, testing monthly payouts to ease poverty and automation's job losses. The episode's absurdity, with cash handouts destabilizing Springfield, mirrors debates over UBI's risks, inflation spikes, labor shortages, and dependency fears. Economists argue over whether free money fuels innovation or laziness, while pilots show mixed results. Some recipients thrive, others game the system. The computer war menace shoes didn't predict UBI's rise but captured its polarizing allure, hinting at societal upheaval when cash flows too freely. Why does this feel so timely? The next prediction will jolt your senses. By 2026, UBI could leap from trials to global policy as automation displaces millions. Think truck drivers and clerks replaced by AI, echoing Springfield's jobless frenzy. The episode's chaos, with residents abandoning work for handouts, warns of economic distortion if UBI scales too fast. In 2024, OpenAI's Sam Altman funded UBI experiments, while G7 nations debate national rollouts. If The Simpsons is right, 2026 might see UBI spark both relief and ruin. Cities could stabilize, or markets could crash under unchecked spending. The show's 2000 satire of human nature under free cash nails today's dilemma. Can we balance equity with stability? Springfield's meltdown suggests pitfalls, from fraud to inflation surges, that could redefine economies. As AI reshapes work, the computer war menace shoes feels less like a gag and more like a cautionary tale for a world teetering on radical welfare reform. Hold on. In the next two predictions, dive into climate chaos and brain tech that could rewrite your mind. Is 2026 Springfield's dystopia or ours? Mega droughts force migration. In Homer, the Heretic, 1992, Season 4, a parched Springfield faces a heat wave so brutal that rivers dry up, crops wither, and residents flee for water-rich zones. The episode's apocalyptic drought played for laughs as Homer lounges in the chaos, mocks environmental neglect. In 1992, climate change was a distant worry, with global warming barely a headline. But by 2025, mega droughts ravage the American Southwest, Australia, and the Mediterranean, draining reservoirs and sparking mass migrations. California's Central Valley lost billions in crops, while Cape Town's Day Zero water crisis forced relocations. The Simpsons scene, with Springfielders abandoning homes for greener lands, echoes real 2024 displacements in Somalia and India due to prolonged dry spells. The episode's satire of ignoring nature's limits, Homer dumping waste into a shrinking river, mirrors today's overexploitation of aquifers and deforestation. It wasn't a precise prediction, but a prescient jab at humanity's denial, now hitting home as climate shifts redraw maps. Could 2026 be the tipping point for mass exodus? The Simpsons didn't forecast specific droughts, but nailed the human cost of environmental collapse. By 2026, the UN projects 700 million climate refugees, with water wars looming in arid regions. Springfield's exodus, with families clutching belongings, foreshadows real-world migrations as cities like Phoenix and Las Vegas ration water. The episode's humor, with Homer ignoring warnings, reflects our delay in cutting emissions. NS 2025's record heat waves prove it. If this holds, 2026 could see entire towns abandoned, with wealthier nations sealing borders against climate migrants. Homer the Heretic's 1992 warning of nature's wrath now looms as a global crisis, where scarcity drives conflict and survival hinges on access to shrinking resources. The show's exaggerated drought is no longer a joke, but a mirror to a world where water is gold. Brain-computer interfaces. In Brother's Little Helper, 1999, Season 11, Bart is prescribed a futuristic drug that links his brain to a device, boosting focus but making him paranoid and erratic. The gadget, a clunky headset, monitors his thoughts, tweaking behavior in real time, a sci-fi spin on ADHD meds. In 1999, brain-computer interfaces, BCIs, were lab experiments, far from practical use. Fast forward to 2025, and Neuralink's implants let users control devices with thoughts, while Synchron's stents aid paralyzed patients. The episode's headset, amplifying Bart's brain but sparking chaos, mirrors BCI's promise and peril productivity gains versus hacking risks or mental overload. The Simpsons didn't blueprint Neuralink but skewered our rush to merge tech with minds, capturing ethical debates over privacy and control. Bart's paranoia, suspecting surveillance, echoes 2024 fears of BCI data leaks to advertisers or governments. Is your brain the next frontier or a corporate playground? The next prediction is a global shocker. By 2026, BCIS could go mainstream, with Goldman Sachs predicting a $50 billion market. Brothers Little Helper's dystopian spin, where Bart's mind is both enhanced and hijacked, warns of unintended consequences, think malware in your skull, or employers mandating implants. In 2025, trials show BCIS restoring speech, but ethicists flag risks of thought surveillance. The episode's 1999 satire, with Bart spiraling under tech's grip, foreshadows 2026 debates on consent and autonomy. If the pattern holds, BCIS might boost learning or trap users in digital cages, with regulators lagging. The Simpsons tapped our fear of losing ourselves to tech, a prophecy unfolding as we wire our brains to machines, balancing miracles with mind control nightmares. Global protests over inequality. In Homer versus the 18th Amendment, 1997, Season 8, Springfield erupts in riots when a prohibition revival sparks outrage over elites hoarding resources while the poor struggle. Mobs storm City Hall, demanding fairness, as bartenders and cops clash over banned booze. The episode's chaos, driven by unequal access, was a 90s nod to class tensions, played for laughs with Homer's bootlegging antics. But by 2025, global protests, Chile's 2019 unrest, France's yellow vests, and Iran's cost of living riots mirror Springfield's rage. Oxfam reports the richest 1% own half the world's wealth, fueling strikes and uprisings. The Simpsons didn't predict specific protests, but nailed the powder keg of inequality, with elites dodging accountability. Springfield's mob, torching privilege, feels like a warning for today's fractured world. Will 2026 ignite a global revolt? The episode's satire of power imbalances, with Mayor Quimby sipping contraband while citizens suffer, hits hard as 2026 looms. The World Bank warns that post-COVID recovery widened gaps, with 60% of nations facing debt crises. Homer versus the 18th Amendment's riots, sparked by unfair rules, reflect 2025's global unrest. Think Brazil's food protests or India's farmer strikes. If this holds, 2026 could see coordinated uprisings, with social media amplifying rage against billionaire tax havens and AI-driven job losses. The Simpsons' 1997 gag, where crowds demand justice, foreshadows a world where inequality sparks rebellion, not just reform. Springfield's lesson is clear: ignore the masses, and cities burn. As wealth concentrates, the show's chaos could be our future, urging action before protests turn apocalyptic. Space debris crisis. In Trash of the Titans, 1998, Season 9, Springfield's garbage crisis spirals when Homer's mismanagement sends trash orbiting the town, crashing into homes and blocking the sun. The episode's absurd space junk, caused by overfilled landfills, mocks waste mismanagement. In 1998, space debris was a minor NASA concern, mostly defunct satellites. By 2025, 27,000-plus objects clutter Earth's orbit per ESA, with collisions risking Kessler syndrome, a chain reaction crash trapping us planet-side. The Simpsons' orbiting trash, raining chaos, mirrors 2024's near misses, like a SpaceX fragment hitting Texas. The episode didn't predict Kessler, but skewered our habit of kicking cans skyward, ignoring long-term fallout. Is our orbit a ticking time bomb? Stay tuned for what's next. By 2026, space debris could cripple satellite networks. Think GPS, internet, and weather forecasts gone dark. Trash of the Titans' trash-filled skies, with Springfield dodging debris, warn of real stakes. A 2025 Starlink collision scare cost millions. The Simpsons' 1998 satire, where Homer's negligence buries the town, reflects our delay in cleaning up orbits. Only 2% of debris is tracked. If accurate, 2026 might see a major incident, grounding space travel or telecoms. The episode's chaos flags our short-sightedness, as private firms like SpaceX add thousands of satellites. Springfield's orbital mess is a prophecy of clogged skies, urging global treaties before debris traps us on Earth, turning sci-fi gags into a cosmic crisis. Which of these jaw-dropping visions do you think will strike in 2026? Let us know in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.